Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
These are tough times, and they're getting even tougher. The clock is ticking. The countdown to collapse is well underway. What are you going to do about it? Will you just wait for it to happen, or will you be ready when it happens? The decision is yours, and yours alone. Join myself, Mickey Fulp, Robert Ian, David Morgan, Jeff Berwick, Elijah Johnson, Alan Butler, Gregory Manarino, Daniel Amaduri, Andy Hoffman, Tekoa Da Silva, Trace Mayer, one of the world's leading Bitcoin authorities, Bix Weir, Jay Taylor, and Gary Christensen at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium in Las Vegas on February 21st and 22nd, and learn how to create your plan to survive the collapse. The last Liberty Mastermind Symposium was one of the most highly rated conferences ever, and this one promises to be even better. Don't miss it. Join us and register now at libertymastermind.us. libertymastermind.us. This one is going to be out of this world, and it's going to be even better because it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to Liberty Mastermind US and sign up today. You are listening to the FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1230 WBZT. Well, where's 2014 going? Nobody knows that for sure, but Jeff Berwick is always ahead of the curve, and he's here with us now. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Kerry. How are you?
Hanging in there, just wondering how they're going to figure out a way to screw us this year, because they never miss an opportunity, right?
They don't seem to. No, they're very good at screwing us.
And consistent.
Yes.
They never miss out on consistency, right?
Yeah, I wish they'd be a little better at the other things they do, but they seem to really do well at screwing us and doing it quite often and regularly.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, you know, your feeling is that some kind of wealth tax, some kind of confiscation coming down the road this year in 2014?
Yeah, well, it's not just me. It's actually the IMF has come out and basically said that's what they're going to do or what they're planning on doing. And it's not for sure they're going to do it in 2014, but they had a report that just came out a few weeks ago saying that because developed countries are at 200-year highs of debt, there will be severe financial repression necessary. And what do they define as severe financial repression? They give a number of possibilities, including outright debt default, which would cause a financial collapse of the system, or an inflationary surprise, as they call it, which you could also probably call hyperinflation. They've also said that there might be a need for a global 10% tax on everybody to pay for all of these government debts that we had nothing to do with.
Yeah, and the money was so wisely invested in things like TARP, in things like stimuluses, in things like bank bailouts, so that the bank execs could continue to get their bonuses, and quantitative easing. And that really paid off huge dividends, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can see all the great dividends. I think JCPenney's closing something like 500 stores right now or something. So this what do they call it? A recovery? It definitely is not much of a recovery. There's more people on food stamps right now than any time in history. There's 11 states in the U.S. with more people on welfare than who have jobs. And all these crazy Keynesian ideas of printing money, printing money and just trying to make the economy recover by printing money, which is crazy, is showing that it doesn't work. And of course, you have people like Paul Krugman now saying, well, we just didn't print enough. So you can see quite quickly how these things can go towards hyperinflation with people like Paul Krugman and Ben Bernanke.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is these solutions, and I put that in quotes, have never worked in the past, ever. Socialistic solutions have never worked in the past. Whenever they've been tried throughout the history of man, there's no reason to think that they're going to work now, and they haven't worked in the past 5 years. So, I hate to use that old, cliche Einstein definition of insanity, but it's so apropos here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's unbelievable that people still believe in this idea. And you just pointed out that it's never, ever worked, ever. So it's not like it didn't work a few times. It's never, ever worked. But they never seem to figure it out. And who knows, maybe they actually want to destroy the economy because, if you do something this stupid this many times over and over, there's a good chance that you're actually doing it on purpose. And, if money printing was actually something that could help people or help a country, then Zimbabwe would be one of the richest countries on earth, and it obviously isn't. And so it's unbelievable that they keep coming back to this. It's all part of this status game, this government game where they try to keep the game going as long as possible, try to keep taking assets from some people and giving it to other people and back and forth and try to keep the economy looking like it's alive even though it's not. And it's just unbelievable that people still fall for this. But I think more and more people are starting to wake up and you're starting to see, for example, 10 years ago, you never saw anything like end the Fed, or people didn't even know what the Federal Reserve was. And now there's a lot of people talking about ending the Fed, even on not Johnny Carson, I was showing my age there, Jay Leno. Or Jay Leno's not even around anymore, is he? Who was it? That was Jay.
He's still around. He's making a long-term exit. And now he's like the true Jay Leno's coming out, and he hates the administration, he hates the government, and it's so interesting.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Now that he has nothing left to lose, and he's made his fortune, he can. That's the problem. People don't become libertarians until they've acquired their fortune. Then they can afford to be libertarians here. It's rather remarkable, that phenomena, and I fall into that guilty camp myself. But, it's just amazing. And you talk about Zimbabwe and Argentina. Yeah, if printing money, they would become the wealthiest country in the world every 10 years because, they print so much of the stuff,
Yeah, it's unbelievable that no one ever seems to catch on about how none of this stuff works. And you even go to all the economics classes in schools in the U.S., it's almost all Keynesian economics. They teach this stuff, and they actually teach it like it's real, and it's not real. It's a crazy idea that you can actually help an economy by printing money. And you look at what's going on right now, you look at all these minimum wage problems, and a lot of people are saying we can't afford to live on minimum wage. And that's because of inflation. And no one seems to see it. So they just keep saying, we need the government to do something, to fix it, to increase the minimum wage. Like the government is some magic spell that they can just make money and give it to people and it'll make everything better. It's unbelievable that people fall for all these ideas.
Hey, I just have to tell you a story here. So I belong to this discussion group. It's kind of a meetup thing and just a bunch of people who get together. And I'd like to say that most of them are above average intelligence, whatever that means. So you write a question, you put it in a bag, and then they get chosen at random. And mine was, is the economy really recovering? So, it's interesting that my question finally got picked. And, nobody really knew what the answer to the question was, except me, of course, because I wrote it. So one lady says, well, she was reading from the front page of the New York Times. Well, quantitative easing really helped and helped save the economy. And, I just didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to mix it up with her. But, it was so obvious that her primary source of information was Krugman and the New York Times. But she didn't have a clue what she was talking about. It was obviously she was fairly well off, and I wanted to just tell her, we'll have this discussion in another year, and we'll see how well that recovery's going for you, because you don't have a clue. You don't know anything about economics. You don't know anything because there ain't no recovery, and just wait. But that's the problem, is most people are too busy living your day-to-day life, which is why they need conferences like the one you're holding, Crisis Conference, the Dollar Vigilante Wealth Management, Protect and Secure Your Assets Now, happening down in the lovely Rio Hato, I think that's how you say it, Rio Hato in Panama on February 5th through 9th.
Yeah, that's right. What we're identifying here is that 2014 is going to be a very dangerous year if you still have a lot of your assets inside of the U.S. and you haven't gotten some of them out. And the biggest thing about that is the upcoming Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act called FACTA, and that's coming out in July of 2014. Not many people know about it because the mainstream media doesn't tell you, but it's effectively a form of capital controls because Americans are going to have a very difficult time moving assets outside of the U.S. after this date. I won't go too much into it because it's kind of complicated, but essentially what it means is that most banks and brokerages around the world won't accept American clients after July 2014 because the U.S. government has made it too onerous on them to do so. And so we put together this conference quite quickly. Only about a month ago we put it together, put the ideas together, and it's coming up next month, in less than a month, in Panama, and it's called the Crisis Conference. And it's really a small conference. It's going to be less than 20 people total, and we're going to help people to understand what's going on and tell them the information, but we're also going to be on hand to help them to move forward to internationalize their assets, should they so choose.
It sounds like a great concept, and yeah, I've been on that FACTA bandwagon for a long time. For a while, it didn't look like they were really going to do it, but I always had a feeling that they were planning on it. And it's just made it horrible for Americans to do legitimate business overseas, of which millions of Americans do and have done for decades. And like you said, it's a form of capital controls. That's what they're doing. And the capital controls have been both subtle and just very in-your-face, heavy-handed, like FACTA. So, and of course, we're having the Liberty Mastermind Symposium, the second one that's taking place in Vegas on February 21st and 22nd, where you're going to be speaking again. And that should be a lot of fun as well. Man, the first one was really a blowout, I thought.
Yeah, the first one was great. I was really impressed. So I'm really looking forward to this one in Vegas.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, the seats are filling up, and again, a limited number of seats. We're not looking for hundreds of people, and I think it's going to exceed our expectations again. We got some different speakers this time. We didn't want it to just be a rerun of the first, and it fits in with the theme of your conference. It's the clock is ticking, countdown to collapse, and quantitative easing, Keynesian economics, it just always ends in collapse. There's no other final chapter for this type of economic management, is there?
No, it's cooked in the books. It's basically already done. When you have this much government debt and you have this much inflation and quantitative easing now, and of course they have to do that because there's so much government debt. So the because the U.S. government has $17 trillion in debt now, even if interest rates were to rise to 10%, which isn't a massive level, that'd be $1.7 trillion per year in interest payments alone on the debt. And that's almost the entire budget of the U.S. government. So they can't allow it to rise. So all they're doing is printing money for as long as possible until finally enough people figure out that this game's over.
Yeah. And I was talking with somebody, Lilonte, it's like a real brilliant economic historian, and he wrote a book about life in the Weimar Republic before it went hyperinflation, and how students from the U.S., they were getting $10, $20 a month, and they were speculating using their money, what to do with it, how to get the biggest return, because all of a sudden their dollars were becoming immensely valuable, and they were buying up like blocks of buildings with their dollars because they became so valuable. And obviously, you could substitute your currency of choice, gold, silver, but that is what's going to happen at some point when fiat currencies, not just dollars, but fill in your blanks here, euros, yen, yuan, they're all going to lose value, and it's probably going to happen. The world's major currencies will probably become worthless all at once. Steeply, they're going to go through this curve where they gradually start losing value. You won't notice it that much at first, but then whammo, they're going to go over this cliff, right?
Yeah, there's really no way to know. We've never seen the entire world be on a fiat currency system before, and we've never obviously seen them all collapse before. So, but we have seen individual ones collapse. So we really don't know how it's going to play out. It could be interesting. You could see Japan go first because Japan's in brutal shape when it comes to their deficit and their debt and their money printing. They're planning on doubling their money supply in the next 2 years, which is basically ensuring hyperinflation. So it might be the yen first to go, and then you might see some people run to the euro or run to the dollar. So that could actually temporarily increase those currencies. But then the euro will collapse, and then people might start to catch on at what's going on, and they might get into gold at that point or Bitcoin or whatever.
But 100 million people lose faith in a fiat currency all at once? I don't know. That's like a huge number of people to lose faith in paper all at once. Paper in quotes, obviously, because there's nothing paper about any currency anymore. That's just a huge number to lose faith in the financial system all at once, Jeff. I mean, that is seismic. Yeah,
I say this is going to be this end of the monetary system as we know it, which is what I call it, is going to be the most dangerous time in human history for capital. And it is also going to be very chaotic. It's going to be very dangerous. There's going to be a lot of problems. And of course, whenever these things happen in the past, a lot of governments like to get involved in wars and try to blame it on other people. So it's going to be interesting times. I tell people not to get too complacent because this money printing since 2008 has made things seem like it's sort of still working the system and maybe it's going to recover. It's definitely not. It's no chance it's going to recover. And to not get complacent right now, you should be making your plans and trying to get your assets secured and try to even get some stuff outside of the country, including yourself if possible, and look at all those options because this is the time to do it before we have the next wave of collapses, which I expect probably will start this year or at latest next year.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2015, but these things don't work on your timetable. They work on other people's timetable that you've never even heard of.
Yeah, and no one can really fully plan it all out because there's just too many variables, and these things tend to be chaotic when they start to collapse. And but the real fact of the matter is that it's going to collapse, and it's going to collapse soon enough that you should be making plans now because you'd rather be a year too early than a day too late in a situation like this.
Yeah, that's why I'm working on a new project. It's called the 9mm conversion table. And basically, a 1 9mm round should buy you a bottle of beer. If you keep that in mind, you should be okay. And in New York City, 10 rounds of 9mm ammo should buy you a pack of cigarettes. On an Indian reservation, probably 3 rounds will buy you a pack of cigarettes. And I expect that one day these conversion tables will be invaluable to your survival. You know, shotgun rounds, a little more difficult because there's different kinds, you know. So we just have to go by standards. A 9mm round has pretty much become standard ammo around the world. And hey, let me tell you a quick story. I think you'll like this. You know, I'm not a hoarder by nature, but like around 2009, I said, you know, I should just buy a bunch of ammunition. So I was a member of a club sportsman's guide, and you got discounted ammo, and it was like they sent these vests, like duck hunting vests. I'm not going duck hunting. You got to like get up early in the morning, times when I've never gotten up except to catch an airplane, you know? But I ordered this stuff, and of course I ordered the wrong stuff because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm the first to admit it. That's why I let the experts tell me what to get. And I get the wrong stuff. So talk about return on investment. I wish I had bought ammunition futures back in 2009 because that was the commodity to be in. So I get the wrong ammo. I go to the range because I'm a lousy shot. I can hit the side of a barn at 30 yards or 30 feet. And I'm trying to put these in, and the guy I'm with goes, jerk, you got the wrong 45s. These are 45 Colt. You needed 45 ACP. And so I said, like, Ed, what the hell am I going to do with these things? I tried to take them to a gun shop, and they said, no, we can't buy these. Our insurance won't let us do it. And, you know, we can't do this. And I have a case of the things. So I discovered this site, gunbroker.com, and I put up like nobody's buying a case of these things. They're so expensive. I put them up on the site, half a case, and I put them up too cheap, and they instantly get bought up. I said, oh, well, that was pretty stupid. So I wound up, I bought these things for $100 for the case. I wound up getting $675 for the case, selling it too cheap. So I got a return in like 4 years of about 7 times on my money.
Wow, that's great.
Man, why didn't you tell me to buy ammunition futures in 2009, Jeff? Man, where were you when I needed you, huh?
Hey, I actually almost did. A few years ago, I had a number of presentations, and my presentation name was Bitcoin, Bullion, and Bullets. 3 staples to survive the coming collapse. And all 3 have done decent. Of course, Bitcoin at the time was $3 and it's now almost $1,000. Yeah. And bullion as well. And actually, I've got a great idea, and I don't want to give it out too much over the air, but I think we could do some sort of a ammunition sort of a investment fund. I don't want to give up too much because I actually might do this. And I think, ammunition is a great investment because the U.S. government's buying up almost all the ammunition in the U.S. right now. So might as well make some money off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm all up for ammunition futures.
Yeah.
And, there must be a way to securitize ammunition. So if you can figure out how to securitize bullets, and let's do it, man. I think we can do it. I think
I'm actually already working on it. I'll tell you offline how it works because I don't want anyone to beat me to it. But it's pretty simple, actually.
All right, I love it. All right, so $vigilante.com, 2 L's in dollar, 1 L in vigilante, and financialsurvivalnetwork.com, libertymastermind.us. You want to be there. Wayne Allen Roots, our keynote speaker, Friday night dinner. So we'll see you there. And Jeff, looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kerry. I'll see you soon.
Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, tax-free, there's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you. Our friend Tom Dyson at the Palm Beach Letter is giving away free copies of a really cool report he put together called How to Protect Yourself from America's New Secret Police. Inside, you'll learn all sorts of simple, everyday tricks you can use to make yourself a little less visible and vulnerable to scammers, hackers, and even the federal government. For instance, inside Tom's report, you'll learn which free internet email service never to use. This company doesn't care if your account gets hacked or not. 4 things the government must tell you if they request your social security number. And how to spot skimmers lying in wait on ATMs and gas pumps, and much, much more. These tricks and secrets are low-hanging fruit ideas. You don't have to invest time or much money into them. Most are free. But by taking some basic measures, you can make your privacy much harder to invade than your neighbors. Tom's report is available for a limited time to listeners who take a trial subscription to his newsletter. Just visit the Financial Survival Network homepage for more information, or go to www.palmbeachletter2.com. That's www.palmbeachletter2.com.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.